Good evening, and welcome to Concrete Block, your premier source for in-depth analysis and discussion of the day's most significant events. I'm your host, Walter. Tonight, we're focusing on a pivotal diplomatic visit that underscores the shifting landscape of global alliances and economic partnerships. French President Emmanuel Macron has embarked on a Southeast Asian tour, with Vietnam being his first stop. This visit highlights France's efforts to strengthen its presence in the region, particularly in areas such as energy, transport, and infrastructure. According to reports from both AFP and the Financial Post, President Macron is expected to engage in discussions with Vietnam's top leaders, aiming to boost bilateral relations and seal several key deals, including a power grid project between the French Development Agency and Vietnam's National Power Transmission Corporation. This trip comes at a time when Southeast Asia is gaining prominence on the global stage, amidst uncertainty surrounding supply chains and international trade. The region has recently seen visits from leaders of China, Spain, Japan, and other nations, all seeking to deepen their ties with these emerging economies. President Macron's visit also follows his call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, where they discussed deepening economic ties between France and China, emphasizing the importance of fair competition for businesses in both countries. The French president has been clear about his intentions to forge stronger relationships in the region, including enhancing security and defense cooperation, as well as collaborating in sectors like aerospace, transport infrastructure, and renewable energy. However, human rights issues are also on the agenda. Macron has been urged by organizations such as Human Rights Watch to address Vietnam's crackdown on freedom of speech and assembly, and to advocate for the release of civil society activists who have been jailed. As we delve into the complexities of this diplomatic visit, it's essential to consider the multifaceted nature of international relations, where economic interests, security concerns, and human rights all intersect. President Macron's tour not only reflects France's strategic ambitions in Southeast Asia, but also highlights the challenges of navigating these diverse interests on a global stage. We'll be keeping a close eye on how this visit unfolds and its implications for regional dynamics and beyond. For now, that's where we'll leave our discussion on President Macron's significant diplomatic endeavor in Vietnam. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're halfway through today's show, and we've got a fascinating story to share with you from Poland. Tens of thousands of people took to the streets in Warsaw to show their support for the two candidates vying for the country's presidency. The election is just around the corner, and it's shaping up to be a closely contested race between liberal Warsaw Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski and nationalist Karol Nawrocki. Now, let's break down the story. Both candidates held rival marches in different parts of the city, with Trzaskowski supporters waving red and white Polish flags and EU flags, while Nawrocki's voters wore hats saying, "Poland is the most important." The two candidates have distinct visions for Poland's future, with Trzaskowski promising to continue Prime Minister Donald Tusk's efforts to reform the judiciary and align the country more closely with European values. On the other hand, Nawrocki has been backed by the Nationalist Law and Justice Party and has expressed admiration for U.S. President Donald Trump's policies. It's worth noting that the election has significant implications not just for Poland, but also for the European Union as a whole. The EU has been keeping a close eye on the developments in Poland, particularly given the country's history of democratic backsliding under the previous Law and Justice government. Newly elected Romanian President Nicolae Dan, who was present at Trzaskowski's march, pledged to work closely with Tusk and Trzaskowski to ensure that Poland and the EU remain strong. As we delve deeper into the story, it's clear that the election is not just about the candidates themselves, but also about the future of Poland's relationship with the EU and its place in the global community. The polls are currently showing a neck-and-neck race between Trzaskowski and Nawrocki, making the outcome impossible to predict. We'll be keeping a close eye on the developments in Poland as the election approaches. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the upcoming presidential election in Poland? Do you think it will have significant implications for the EU or global politics? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #ConcreteBlock. And that's all for this segment of Concrete Block. We've provided a balanced view of the story, highlighting the key points and implications of the election. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a fascinating story that's been making headlines around the world. As you may know, Pope Leo XIV has been in the news lately, and we're here to give you an update on his recent activities. So, let's dive right in. The new Pope, who's also the first American to hold the position, has been busy formalizing his role as the Bishop of Rome. In a ceremonial step, he declared himself a Roman, saying, "I am a Roman, with and for you," during a speech in the city. This statement is seen as a symbolic gesture, rather than a repudiation of his American or Peruvian citizenship. Now, some of you might be wondering what this means for the Catholic Church and its relationship with Rome. Well, experts say that the Pope's role as Bishop of Rome is largely ceremonial, and he won't be directly involved in the day-to-day governance of the city. Instead, he'll be focused on his pastoral responsibilities to the people of Rome. It's also worth noting that Pope Leo XIV has been making waves with his diplomatic efforts, particularly when it comes to the conflict in Eastern Europe. His foreign minister, Archbishop Paul Gallagher, has been meeting with world leaders, including U.S. Secretary of State Rubio, to discuss the Vatican's role in promoting peace and stability in the region. As we close out today's show, it's clear that Pope Leo XIV is making a significant impact on the global stage. Whether you're a Catholic or not, it's hard to deny the significance of his leadership and his commitment to promoting peace and understanding around the world. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.